It's time for our final squad analysis preview for the Women's Asia Cup 2024. And it's another Asian side, and you all know it's Sri Lanka this time. Once again, Neha with me. Neha, welcome back to the show. We started off with Team India, ending with Sri Lanka, the hosts of the T20 2024 Asia Cup. How do you speak about this team? A very balanced side, led by a very experienced captain as well. Talk us through this, please.
Hi, Preetham. Once again, really happy to be back here. And I know, we started our journey right from India and now we are on to Sri Lanka. Often these two teams have been at loggerheads in Asia Cup, often as finalists or, semi-finalists. But either case, we're focusing largely on Sri Lanka and they're such a stellar team, right? I mean, led by, of course, Chamari Athapaththu. I think any adjectives would be like insufficient to describe her contribution, right? I think she's been such a cornerstone for their success in the recent past.
Absolutely.
As their celebrated player has played across, franchise cricket and just so many leagues. The experience she reeks of, I think, not a lot of players can boast of that. And just looking at the Sri Lanka side as well, right? You get a sense that it is a very young side which has so much to offer, and that's what makes them such an exciting proposition in world cricket lately. And even looking at their performances, right, versus say South Africa or even versus West Indies very recently, you see this is not a team that can be taken easily. So all in all, very exciting signs heading into this Asia Cup, and it's happening at home for them. So definitely a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's happening at home. But you spoke about the skipper, Atapadu. You said about the experience she has, but has she been a little bit unlucky towards not getting picked from different franchisee league cricket, starting with WPL?
Yes. I mean, occasionally she has been on the receiving end of not getting picked, and she's the kind of player who would still, not just open the door, break the door down. Just make people understand that she is this player. She's here to stay, and her performances literally give us an indication of that as well. And although inconsistency can sometimes creep, and it happens to the best of the players, right? She's the kind of player who always makes it a point to keep that process in check and just keep working hard on her game. And because she has been such a long servant of Sri Lanka cricket for just so many years, right? I think it's just very difficult to keep her out of the side. And even looking at her returns lately, although she may not have had the best of best numbers, I think the way she has nurtured and groomed the players in her side is definitely one that makes her such an important asset to the team as well. Even in that South
Absolutely.
Africa series, right? The match that was a very high scoring one where she scored one of the highest ODI totals, and then we had Laura Wolfart coming in as well. The
Correct.
way she led her girls, I think that was just remarkable.
Absolutely. That's the reason why she's once again the captain for the Sri Lankan women's side. But what about the others? Let's take a look into the squad for Sri Lanka. Starting with the first four players, Neha, you have Vishmi Gunaratna, another opener, alongside Chamari Athapaththu. You have Samara Vikrama, you have Kavisha Dilhari. So there are really good, experienced top order batsmen as there. You have Samara Vikrama, you have Athapaththu. The numbers say it all. The other two as well. Strike rate is something we were discussing earlier as well about Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, around the 80s, 90s. Here, a couple of players are into the hundreds as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad you came up with this lineup of players to start off our discussion with, because let's start with Vishmi Gunaratne. She's just 18-year-old, fresh from that under 19 World Cup. She's tossed into the senior side. The way she has, taken responsibility right at the top of the order. I mean, initially we saw her, struggling to get those runs, but now she's unstoppable. For me, I think it's that knock, versus Uganda where she got a 73. And even in the series versus West Indies, right, getting scores of 50, 44, and 35 consecutively, I think she has been unstoppable lately. And the fact that she's able to complement Chamari Athapaththu right at the top of
Yeah.
the order just makes her such a unique proposition. I know the strike rate is still in those 90s, and she's just 18, so I'm sure she has a bright future ahead of her. And she's one player Sri Lanka would earmark for success. I mean, the way she's been contributing right now, I'm pretty sure she can keep that sort of a momentum going. And looking at even Harshita Samara Vikrama, I mean, she's that sort of a player who provides a lot of stability, in that middle
Mhm.
order. Say there's a chance where, you lose those early wickets, you have someone like her who can come in and give you those important runs. Again, strike rate can be a bit of a concern, but I think that's with experienced players, right? Sometimes they'll have to compromise a little bit on their game for the team's cause,
Yeah.
and she comes across as, a person like that, who is going to step up for the team, and that sort of a character as well. And Kavishna Dilari, again, another very excited, gifted all rounder, I'd say. I mean, she's just 23, and she's one player I was hoping, we'd get to see in the WPL because of how talented she is. Stellar with the ball. And I think in the series versus West Indies as well, she's just kind of reinforced why she's so lethal. So again, when she can also chip in with the bat, I think that makes her such a unique proposition, because when you look at world cricket right now too, right, we value all rounders for a reason, right? And she gives you reasons to celebrate her even more. So this is definitely, these are, the next step. Like when Sri Lanka has a transition, these players will be very imperative to, ensure it's a smooth transition. And right now, yeah, Sri Lanka does look in good hands.
Absolutely. They do look in very, very good hands. That's the reason why these top four players in the top orders will be very important for Sri Lanka. Moving into the middle orders, you still have more as well. You have Hasini Pereira, you have Nilakshi De Silva, the wicket keeper as well. Anushka Sanjeevani is there, and Gimani is there. I think Gimani will make her debut if she gets an opportunity. But talk us through the others as well. The wicket keeper batsman, she also has a lot of runs under her belt.
Yeah, I mean, let's start off with Hasini Pereira. I think my biggest concern with her is, of course, that strike rate. It's criminal in T20s to have a strike rate
Absolutely.
like that. But I think for a senior player like her, she has underachieved largely. I don't know what is the gap, but she's the kind of player I had thought would actually achieve a lot of greatness, because when you just look at the matches she has played, it's I think like 72 odd or so, and you'd expect, right, some sense of like responsibility and more onus on your wicket. But she has been largely disappointing. I hope this Asia Cup kind of gives her that space to just come into her own and take more responsibility. And looking at Nilakshi D Silva as well. Now, when I was reading up about her, interestingly, she has the fewest ducks in her career, because she's again a very dependable batter in that sense.
Wow, that's something
And
interesting.
yeah, and her game also, I always largely felt was centered more to the ODIs. But now seeing her step up in T20s is a very fresh sign, right? Because again, Sri Lankan batters don't really come with an attacking instinct. Case
Yeah.
in point, I know you would say Chamari, but not a lot of them, come in with that sort of an attacking mindset. But Nilakshi has again, served Sri Lanka cricket for a really long period of time. She's been through all of those ups and downs. So in that sense, I'd say she's still, a formidable batter, gives you those crucial runs as well. And I think our next player is Anushka Sanjeevani as well. She is another player, who's just played for such a long period of time that sometimes you just end up forgetting that she's such an important cog as well. She is your
Yeah.
formidable wicket keeper and offers stability in that middle order as well. Again, I feel the numbers don't do justice to her game, but
But
also it
she has a
depends on,
wonderful strike rate at home. Like at
yeah.
home conditions, she has a strike rate above 95. So it could be that she's a very good player of spin, maybe.
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, she is one of those gifted players who can, tackle spin really well. But because her role is that of a wicket keeper, and in women's cricket, often, we see the wicket keepers coming so low in the batting. That's probably, why her numbers don't do her justice. But again, because she provides you that sort of solidity in the batting attack, I think that's what makes her special in that sense. And I think last but not the least, we also have Shashini Gimhani. She is a left arm wrist spinner. Again, Preetham,
Okay.
she's a very exciting talent. She's just 15-year-old, and she's been an
Just
absolute breakthrough
15.
star. Yes, she's been an absolute breakthrough star, coming from your domestic setup. And I think in one of the pressers as well, Chamari spoke about her very highly. That I'm excited to see how she kind of progresses in her career. And even looking at her performances in the T20 World Cup qualifiers,
Mhm.
simply remarkable. I mean, the way she was getting those wickets and the kind of maturity she has for a 15-year-old is just remarkable. Very excited to see where she kind of goes from here, because it's an Asia Cup happening at home. So it's more familiar conditions for this very young girl who has a very bright future ahead of her,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. So these four players are evenly important, a promising player to watch out for, as you rightly said. So we will see if she gets an opportunity. because she was highlighted very highly by the captain herself. Moving on to the spinners department, the bowlers department are slowly and steadily near. Ama Kanchana is there, 14 wickets, 7 economy. I think that's not a bit impressive compared to the other three. Sanchini Nilansana is there. You have Kavada Kavendi, she's a little bit experienced. You have Sugandha Kumari as well. So talk us through these. I can see Kumari being the most experienced amongst all the others, but economy is more important than wickets, I must tell you, in T20 formats.
Certainly. I mean, again, you're looking at this lineup of players. Let's start with Ama Kanchana. Again, she's a bowling all-rounder. And when I just look at her numbers and her performances, over the past couple of years, I've always feel that consistency is something that has really eluded her, right? She's blown hot and cold, gets you wickets here and there, but then there's spells, where she just goes without the wicket, without, getting you those crucial wickets. And that's where, I think Sri Lanka uses her also very sparingly. We don't see her featuring in all of those games. They use her just like here and there. So I think that consistency becomes a little bit of an issue. And talking about Sachini Nisansala as well, right? She's your slow arm left. No, she's your slow left arm orthodox spinner. And she recently actually picked her best ODI figures versus West Indies. I think that was a brilliant spell, picking a 5 over. She just looked so
Oh,
much in control, yeah. And I think that's what makes her really special. And the fact that she adds a lot of value, to that spin attack is something that really sets her apart. I hope she gets a lot more opportunities in T20s as well, because again, when you look at Sri Lanka's international calendar as well, you see, they don't play a lot of cricket. And whenever they get opportunities, these players, have to kind of raise their hand and make those opportunities count. And next is, of course, Kavya Kavendi. She is another pacer from the stable of Sri Lanka. She has express pace. And I think, again, she has age working in her favor. She's just 21-year-old. And I think pacers have been a concern for Sri Lanka. But Kavya, it gives you that confidence that Sri Lanka cricket is in the right hands. I hope she gets a lot more opportunities in the domestic setup as well, that she can hone her skills and, just come a little bit more stronger and more well prepared for international cricket. So she's definitely one player to watch out for as the matches progress. And yeah, we also have Sugandhika Kumari, again another slow left arm orthodox spinner, and she's extremely talented. Offers a lot to the spin department. Like I remember when I was trying to analyze more about Sri Lanka and their squad, I think their spin attack is really stellar. And because of
yeah.
the presence of Sugandhika, Kumari, I think it just adds a lot more value as well. She adds a lot of impetus to that attack. So yeah, that's my take.
Wow, so many left-arm orthodox bowlers, and you still have three more bowlers to spin. I can see a lot of experience amongst these candidates as well. Who are the pacers amongst these?
Yeah, I mean, again, looking at this lineup, right, you see a lot of spinners, but Inoshi Priyadarshini, to start off with, I think very recently versus West Indies, she picked a 3 for 28. And even looking at her performances for Sri Lanka in that T20 World Cup qualifiers, I think she was fantastic, okay? Just look at her economy of 5.68. She's played against top flight nations and still being able to retain shape is, I
Yeah.
think, very commendable in that sense. So she's definitely one to watch out for. And yeah, talking about Achini Kula Surya, she's
Yeah.
one of the linchpins and crucial cogs in that bowling attack as well. I know economy is a little bit leaning towards 7, but in all
Seven.
the
Yeah.
opportunities she's got, she offers you
Is
that
she a
decent
pacer?
medium. Yeah, she's a pacer. So she offers
Okay.
you a little bit of that medium fast bowling. And again, I think Sri Lanka will use her very sparingly because of the conditions and, taking
Absolutely.
that sort of thing into account. And last but not the least is Udeshika Prabodhini. I think one performance of hers that I particularly remember was again from the T20 World Cup qualifiers, where she got that 3 for 13 versus Scotland. I think she offers a lot with her pace as well. And I hope Sri Lanka gives her a lot more opportunities at home, because you're facing off against tougher teams, right? I mean, they're put in a group where you'd think that, yeah, it's a breeze. Thailand and Bangladesh shouldn't be that much of a challenge. But I think Sri Lanka's challenges will really start when once they progress onwards, right? So in that sense, yeah, I think Udeshika will be crucial to Sri Lanka's prospects.
Okay, so fair enough. So this sums up pretty much this entire squad for Sri Lanka. So many promising players, as we all said, spin dominant side as we expected them to be at home conditions. They know it really well. It's going to be played at Dambula, if I'm not mistaken. But who are their opponents going to be? Let's take a look into the fixtures. Here are the fixtures for Sri Lanka. I must tell you, they are starting with once again Bangladesh on the 20th of July, as you rightly said when we spoke about Bangladesh. Well, their rivalry continues. So, how do you look into their start with Dambula 7 p.m. clash on the 20th of July? I'm sorry, against Bangladesh.
I mean, honestly, the kind of rivalry that Bangladesh and Sri Lanka have, I think it's very restricted to men's cricket because when you look at the women's cricket side of things, I think both of these units are entirely different, right? Because Sri Lanka right now is in a very good mind space. They have really good players, while Bangladesh still seems to be finding their feet. They don't play as much cricket as they'd like to, so they'd have to rely on key players to stand up. So in this matchup, I definitely give Sri Lanka the edge because right now they're just playing on an entirely different plane. Just left,
Correct.
right, defeating teams like South Africa and West Indies and not
Absolutely.
even making a fuss about it. But I think the other
Absolutely.
two matches should be quite a breeze, right? I mean, Thailand shouldn't really
Thailand
pose.
and Malaysia are the two teams they're going to face. Apart from that, I think that those should be a cakewalk for them. Not to disrespect
Absolutely.
their opponents.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think it should be really tough for them because at one time, Sri Lanka was the kind of team that, struggled, had to go through the qualifiers and everything. I mean, although they do that now, but more often than not, you just see them ending up on the victorious side, just making it through to most of your ICC events. So I'm not really concerned about these two opponents. Either case, I'd like to see some well contested encounters because, I mean, who likes a
Absolutely.
one sided encounter after a point, right? I think it'll
Absolutely.
be great for
Absolutely.
the Asian side of things if we see some competition as well. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully, we get to see some.
Absolutely, you just said the right thing. Let's hope for good competition in the entire Asian Games, Women's Asia Cup 2024. Let's take a look into the top three players to watch out for from this Sri Lankan squad. Here it is, my three picks. Neha, coming to you. Vishmi Gunaratne, you said about her, a very young player, but a fantastic opener. Has to be Chamari Athapaththu as well, and Kavya Kavendi as well as my third player. What's your take on these three players?
I think these are perfect picks, Preetham. I definitely put my money on them. Vishmi Gunaratne has been making the right noises. She's just 18-year-old and gives me a lot of glimpses of Shefali Verma. How she was spotted really young, the way she has developed and nurtured her game. I think Vishmi gives me a lot of those vibes as well. Not, going into this whole comparison game side of things. But Vishmi is
Mhm.
definitely one of those players who is definitely earmarked for success. I hope Sri Lanka cricket keeps giving her those opportunities, and she continues to shine. A very confident player, and most of the pressers that I've been a part to, right? She knows exactly a lot about her game and is very articulate in that sense. So Vishmi,
Wonderful.
is definitely one of those key players. And Chamari, though, we have spoken a lot about her. I mean, I think
She doesn't need any
yeah.
introduction, I must tell you.
Absolutely, yeah. And talking about my third player, I definitely go with Kavisha Dilhari. This is again a little bit of a bias
Okay.
because I genuinely think she's a gifted all rounder. She's just 23 and has so much to offer, right? And the manner in which she gets the ball to spin and just gets you those wickets, I think is just remarkable. So I think Kavisha Dilhari would be my third pick.
Kavisha for you, Kavya for me. So here are the three players to watch out for. We have given our choices. Let's take a look into the predicted playing 11. Here it is, Neha, my predicted playing 11 for the Sri Lankan squad. You can see it out here. Dominated with spin once again, but any changes for you?
I mean, this playing 11, I think even off record, we spoke, it's a lot that it was a very similar playing 11 that was used even for the West Indies series. So I wouldn't
Yeah,
want to bring about a lot of changes because when you look at Sri Lanka's performances versus West Indies as well, you could see, there was no constant chopping and changing. There was
absolutely.
some stability, in the selection of those playing
Even
11.
against South Africa as well.
Exactly, and that's what makes me confident that this is a very good setup. But I'm just thinking, in place of probably Kavya Kavendi, I want to go in. I'm a little tempted to go in with Udeshika, but
Okay,
we'll have to see the matchups and the scenario, how it plays there.
absolutely.
But of course, they will want to go with a spin heavy attack because that's the kind of conditions you would largely expect, right, in Sri Lanka.
Absolutely, because the Lanka Premier League recently got ended in the Dambula leg, so expecting their wickets to be slow as well. But that sums up the Asia Cup 2024 women's squad analysis. We have covered up all the teams most probably. But thank you so much, Neha. Thank you everyone for joining this video and watching this. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fifth Umpire. Press the bell icon as well. We will be there on the match days as well for the Asia Cup. Thank you so much, and bye bye.